Hello everyone, and a warm welcome to a beautiful day here in New Zealand at the famous Circuit Chris Amon as we get ready for our grand finale. 2 races to go in the 2019 Castrol Toyota Racing Series. I'm Jonathan Green, and down in the pits is Murray Taylor. And Murray, I see you've got a distinguished gentleman with you with some news.
Yes, hot in from Sydney, it's Trevor Schumack, the Michelin man. Trevor, I suspect this race is going to be very much about tyres with the temperatures soaring.
Oh, look, you know, our tyre copes really well with the temperature. I think the guys have seen in the qualifying that they can put a good lap in early, but I think even on the last lap, the tyre will back up and deliver all the way through. Even the Grand Prix later in the day, I think one of the strengths is that our tyre will stay there the whole race and they can still be running, you know, hot on the pace right at the end.
It's the wildly fluctuating temperatures you really have to worry about when they start the race and then the temperature changes.
No, not necessarily. I think, you know, when the track temperature's set, it's quite warm here today, but the tyre deliver from the beginning virtually right the way through the race.
How much down do you set the tyre pressures?
The team work with that. I mean, I think that's the secret. They don't ever let us see that sometimes. They try and keep that to themselves.
You've been watching this from afar. It's been a great season, possibly one of the best.
You know, it's over all the seasons, a few tenths makes all the difference, but the racing at the front this time has been equal to the best I've seen across the whole series, all the way.
Well, you were involved with MTech Team, the establishment of it. You've fostered Australian talent. We've got some good Australians here this year.
Yes, finally we've got some more guys coming over from Australia. I mean, all those years, you know, I was trying to tell everybody in Australia, and it's great to see some of the Australian drivers here doing really well and running against the best drivers in the world.
I'm impressed with this young Jackson Walls.
He's considering he didn't even do the first round. You know, I think he's delivered really well. You know, he's seen some of the highs and lows and some of the challenges. I think it's such a great series for young drivers like that.
Well done.
Thank you, Murray. Yeah, thank you, Trevor. And of course, Trevor been involved with the Michelin project around the world for many years. And he's quite right. Those tyres will last as long as you want them to. But, right, he says, it's the team's choice to decide what pressure to run. And that could be a tactic that comes into play later in the afternoon as temperatures soar here at Manfeild. It's very hot indeed, and we're expecting hotter temperatures than yesterday even. Now, let's just get you up to date. If you've just joined us on the live feed here around the world, we had a race yesterday, and it was won by Marcus Armstrong. Marcus Armstrong and Liam Lawson have been going at it throughout the 5 weeks of this championship. And advantage, if you like, went to Armstrong in the first race, with Lawson following home in second place. Now, what we do for each of race 2 of each weekend is a reverse top 6 or top 8. Now, that's done by a marble draw. Marcus drew out an 8, and that means that he and Lawson will start 7th and 8th on the grid. But it also means that Petru Florescu and Cameron Das have a really good chance from the front row of winning race 2. Our eyes will definitely be on that battle between Armstrong and Lawson, because tactically, whoever gets the advantage and maybe gets a place ahead of the other could score some major points, getting an advantage going into the 35-lap New Zealand Grand Prix. Also on track, Kenny Smith in his 48th running of the New Zealand Grand Prix. Quite a feat, an historical one that will go down in the history of motorsport as an unbelievable achievement, no question about it.
And Jonathan, interesting that at all previous rounds they've drawn the number 6 marble. This is the first time we've had the reverse top 8, and it's perfectly timed to really set this up for the Grand Prix.
Yeah, no question. I'm really looking forward to this. The nerves are starting to show just a little bit. There's a few tactics coming in. That ball draw I mentioned, Marcus was pointing to some of the situations where Lawson has had problems off the line. And obviously his wheel spins and his starts off the line haven't been as good as Marcus. Marcus has certainly taken the advantage when there's been a restart. We always have situations, and we often have red flags in the Toyota Racing Series, simply to get as many laps as we can in. And just looking down on the pits, there's O'Neill Muth, who is just a 15-year-old and basically supporting his brother, his older brother, 17-year-old Esteban. There he is. And we hope to see him in those colours and in one of these cars next year. He's had some testing. There it is. Ride for Timo, a motorcycle friend, a motocross friend who he lost early in his career, did Esteban, and so he puts that on the side of the car. Also nice to see American Dev Gore saying get well soon to Robert Wickens, of course, the IndyCar driver from Canada. So the car's starting to filter out onto the grid. Everybody's got the umbrellas up.
Jonathan, down here on the pit wall, I caught up with Enzo Mucci, who's the driver coach for Liam. Just came in for the last 2 rounds. You arrived just in time.
Absolutely, yeah. It's I don't know if it's timing, if it's luck, or I just distracted him in a way that made him go better. I don't know. It's hard to prove. We gave him some bananas today, so hopefully that'll work. It usually does.
So what's your advice to him for a critical situation like this, where the pressure is really on?
Well, this everyone can associate with like playing a game of tennis. If you're just passing the ball back, it's a beautiful stroke, and you say, oh, why can't I do that when it's actually a point, when it's pressure's on? So really, today he's just coming to have fun, because when he has fun, he's unstoppable. So that's the kind of environment we got to create for him today.
Well done.
That's good advice. Enzo Mucci has looked after many a driver over the years, and he's also looking after Dev Gore as well, the American. So he's a busy chap, but I think the focus is obviously on Liam, because it's such a big moment for this 16-year-old. No one really expected him to achieve what he's achieved in the last 4 weeks, and the interest around the world has been phenomenal, and I don't see why it shouldn't be. We've got Brendan Hartley Way, a new street named after Brendan. Saw his brother Nelson earlier today. And this is where the future Formula One stars are born, quite literally, in this series, because we have seen so many, from Lando Norris, Lance Stroll, Daniel Kvyat. They've all come through this system, and here could very much be the next one in Liam Lawson. His arch rival, and the man who wants to win the championship so badly, is of course Marcus Armstrong. He's already effectively made it. He's still got a long way to go at 18, but this man in the number 8 is already under the tutelage of Ferrari. He's got a coach from the Ferrari Academy from Italy with him. He has been with him all through the 5 weeks, doing exactly what Enzo Mucci is doing with Liam, which is just being there as a support mechanism to do the training, to make sure that he's on time, and basically be that shoulder of confidence. At this level, it's all about head games. These guys are within milliseconds, and the qualifying proves it. The top 10 at Taupo were within less than a second, and the top 4 were about 0.2 off each other. We had one pole position decided by 0.003 of a second. It's that close. So at that point, it's not about who's better, it's about who's got his head straight and who has got the confidence, and I think Enzo just summed it up. Brilliantly there with exactly that. When he's having fun, he's unstoppable, and that's the guy we want to see out there today. Let's take a look now as we see Florescu lining up at this reverse top 8 grid, and that sees the Romanian with his first front row start of the season. Alongside him, Cameron Dass, who's been fast all season long, the American. He lines up alongside him. He'd be a good bet for a win here, but watch out for Esteban Muth. He's due another win. Callum Williams hasn't had a win, the Australian, and he's on the second row. So there's a lot of men who all capable of winning a race. Brendan Leach has already won one race. He's on the third row. And Lucas Auer, pole man for the Grand Prix. Wouldn't it be nice if he could get on the podium and put himself in the shop window ahead of the Grand Prix, which he starts in pole position. Next row is Liam Lawson and Marcus Armstrong. How will they play this strategy-wise? It all depends on the start. Raoul Hyman's behind them. He's having a much better time than he did yesterday. Jackson Walls, the man that Murray was mentioning, the young Australian, just 16 years of age. And just behind him, Dev Gore and Parker Locke, the 2 Americans coming into this series for the first time. Kenny Smith starts his 48th run at the New Zealand Grand Prix with this race and of course the Grand Prix to come. Thomas Smith alongside him. So the 2 Smiths, quite different though. One just 16, the other just a little bit older. Kazuta Kataka is behind them, and then Peter Petacek. Those were 2 men involved in an incident yesterday in the race yesterday. And then Artem Petrov, who's been under the weather. He's had a high fever most of yesterday, so hats off to the Russian to even be out there in these hot conditions. So that's the grid. Murray, your thoughts, the temperature, the feeling down there at the moment?
Well, I'm looking down the grid, and there's a lot of traffic between our 2 title contenders. This is going to be fascinating how they take to this, whether decide to just watch each other and work out the positions. I think the critical number is 2 possessions we were hearing from the team earlier. It's whether they go for the result, go for the points, or they play the cover game.
Well, if I'm looking back at the 5 weeks, the approach of both men has been quite different. Lawson has gone for every hole, every gap, every outside move he could find. Sometimes it winds up well, as it did at Highlands. Sometimes it goes wrong, as it did at Hampton. As for Marcus, nice and consistent. That's the key. That's the maturity. He was 16 a few years ago. He was on the grid just like Liam, and he was the one who was the fast and furious, taking the gaps and doing that. Now, a little bit more mature, a little bit more thought, perhaps, from his point of view. He knows that how to win this championship is to be consistent and go for it at the right time. And last year, it all didn't go his way, and he's come back, and he's here and determined to try to win both the Grand Prix and the championship. But it is the championship that's the focus. Talked to Liam yesterday about that. He'd love to win the Grand Prix, but the championship is without doubt the focus. There's no question about it. So we are about to go racing. The grid is cleared, and now just one engineer to each driver, just keeping the engines cool, and then about to fire them up, and we will be underway. This a 15-lap race, and in terms of the points, the reverse grid race 2 is also for less points. So 20 for the winner, 18 for second, 16, 14, 12, 10 and down. So we'll keep an eye on that as this race unfolds, because that is important too. Remember, the Grand Prix holds a winning margin of 35 points for the winner. So this one, an important race, but not as many points up for grabs. But if you're Liam Lawson and you're Marcus Armstrong, every point matters, and it really does now. We were talking to Mark Pilcher earlier, and he is as nervous as I'm sure everybody else is. Believe it or not, M2 competition on 199 poles, 99 podiums, excuse me. What will they get at the end of today? Florescu then leads them away from Cameron Dass, and everybody cleanly away, it looks like. In fact, the whole field does trail away. And Murray down there. Anybody with some last thoughts? Guess not. So, Florescu, what an opportunity for this young Romanian, looked after by Mick Kouros, the Australian. It's been an up and down season, but he can finish it off today on a high. He certainly has been so much better this weekend. And talking to the drivers, there's certain circuits they love and certain other circuits they don't, and they are very different. The one thing you can say about New Zealand circuits is they're all very tight for these single-seaters, 215 brake horsepower, and all with identical FT50 Tata chassis. In fact, the man who designed them is here this weekend from Italy to watch just how they go here. He's been to New Zealand before, but he started watching on the live stream, and like everybody else, has got more and more involved in this series as it's gone on. So, 1 point between Armstrong and Liam Lawson. That's all there is. What will they do here in this race 2? Can Cameron Dass take his first win, or Florescu? They need a good start. How will Marcus play it? Watch out for Muth. Look out for Auer. Calvin Williams due a podium for sure. Wouldn't that be nice for him after a long 5 weeks, the Australian? And never count out Brendan Leach. He's one of those guys that just is always there at the right time. And he's there again on the 3rd row. Race 2 then, about to get underway here at the circuit. Chris Amon. Petrov just getting into position. The grid is ready. On the left-hand side of your screen, Florescu of Romania. Dass alongside him. Out go the lights, a little bit of wheel spin from Florescu, but Cameron Dass is away. Muth comes alongside Florescu. Great start from Esteban Muth, but it's going to be Cameron Dass who leads them into the first corner. Great start by the American from Baltimore. Everybody cleanly through Toyota corner for the first time and headed towards Splash. Already Lucas Auer looking to get past Muth. He's up to 3rd place is Lucas. Brendan Leach fighting for 4th with The poleman Florescu, who's dropped down to 4th position. Leach loses out there, and it looks as though Lawson and Armstrong are side by side with Leach ahead of them as they head towards Higgins. What a start to this one. And Lawson looks up the inside. Around the outside goes Armstrong. Callum Williams is between them. Vital corners, somebody's off at the back. And that's Jackson Walls almost hitting one. And into the last corner. Everybody sorting themselves out, and Lawson's got the advantage because he's got Williams between himself and Armstrong. Cross the line then. Good start from Liam Lawson. Now Armstrong needs to pounce, and to the inside he goes at Toyota. Can't quite get through, or can he? Armstrong side by side with Williams, but can't pull it off just yet. Smart driving by the Christchurch man. Got to be careful. One mistake could end the whole season. This is the 14th race of 15 races in all. Superb racing throughout the 5 weeks here. Through goes Armstrong now on Williams, and he's got the run at the hairpin. Now he's got and he's sent Callum Williams off as well. And that'll be interesting to see if they take a closer look at that. Don't think there was any harm by Armstrong there, but Williams did go wide, maybe by his own volition. And now Armstrong is behind Lawson. Again, they come to the last corner. The fastest man so far, Esteban Muth, a 1:08.3. Good start from Muth. Lucas Auer settling in to 3rd place, and Florescu calm down now in 4th place. Then it's Lees, Lawson, Armstrong, Hyman, Kotaka. Got away well. Great start from the Japanese. He's gone all the way up to 9th place. Murray. Thought we had him for a second. He's dived down back into the pits. And now Callum Williams fighting with Kotaka. Kenny Smith is ahead of Jackson Walls, who went wide at Higgins. And I'll tell you what, Kenny Smith pedaling well. Give a cheer to the 77-year-old Grand Prix legend that is Kenny. He's right there behind Parker Locke and ahead of Jackson Walls. Here comes Kotaka on Williams. And the Japanese, does he make it? Well, they're side by side. This is going to be interesting coming into the last corner. This is where he got in trouble yesterday. And now there's a 3-way battle for the last corner. Something's got to give. Oh, and through goes Peter Petacek. And again, Williams goes wide. They're not giving him much room to race, and Petacek gets the advantage. Meanwhile, at the front, Cameron Dass still leading. He's taken the gap to just over 0.7 now. But what a battle this is. At the front of it, Peter Petacek of the Czech Republic. Then it's Williams, then Kotaka. Also, a really good battle between all 3 Kiwis now as they head into turn 4. This only a 15-lap race. They've got to get it done soon. And here is that battle between the Kiwis. It's led by Brendan Leach. Lawson and Armstrong almost glued together now. We've hardly seen them race in the 5 weeks. And now's the chance. Armstrong pounces at Higgins. He's got the inside line, but Lawson holds on in there and keeps his foot in, as he should. And this is the last scenario that Lawson wanted. A scrap with the man fighting him for the championship, but every place matters. Oh, and a big off Florescu! And they'll need to send rescue for Florescu because he's off and in the gravel. And that could easily bring out the safety car because he's parked it in the gravel here at Manfeild. Meanwhile, Cameron Dass continues at the front. A big gap now to 4th place Brendan Leach. Then Lawson, Armstrong, and just behind them, Raoul Hyman. Murray.
Safety car lined up.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time. They're going to have to go and get that. That's at the last corner that Petru Florescu went off. So the crowd got a good view of it. And out goes the safety car. And Murray, we take a deep breath and a little thought process. Some really interesting battles there.
All happening on track. Very quiet in the pits. Nothing happening here.
Exactly.
It's absolutely going off. I mean, who could have imagined it would come down to this? The build-up to the Grand Prix, and This is still very undecided. This restart is going to be exciting.
Yeah, no question about it. And everybody getting a chance to rethink it. And this is a huge opportunity for Cameron Dass. He's been there or thereabouts throughout this 5 weeks. Remember, he was 12th overall last season, Cameron Dass. And so this was a chance to kind of just come here for the winter and see if he'd improved, and I know he has, no question about it.
And there goes the red flag, Jonathan.
Yep.
They've decided to red flag it.
Well, you've got to get a truck on the course, which is now on the course at the back of the track going into the last corner. And once you get a vehicle, a moving vehicle on track that isn't one of the safety cars, then really you have to red flag it. Plus, we want to keep the laps, 10 to go, and we certainly don't want to sit here under safety waiting for the race to restart, because it could be some 10 or 15 minutes before they extricate that car away.
And dare we tempt fate, Jonathan, talking about heat soak sitting there on the grid. This will be going through the mind of Marcus again. It still hangs over him. You know, he's tried to put it behind him, but just remember what happened here last year.
Well, let's just remind people, yeah, his car went into safety. It got hot, and yeah, he was asked about it in the press conference yesterday. Did it come across his mind when there was a safety yesterday? And he said, yes, my engineer asked me what the temperature was, and he said I had a huge flashback. And if that's his gremlin, Lawson's is worrying about his starts. But he got away well this time, and he certainly got the advantage over Armstrong at the start. It was very important to put Callum Williams between them. And so Lawson, advantage Lawson in that game of tennis that we discussed. It's very much the case at the moment. And we will bring everybody to a stop. There's Florescu's car. He's out the car, by the way. He's fine. And making his way back to the pits. And yeah, not the finish he wanted to race to. And that's a fast corner.
Jonathan, it'd be interesting to look at the lap times, because at the moment Marcus looks to be more racy. He's more aggressive than we've come to expect from Liam, the one making the charge, but it's Marcus making the hard running here.
Yep, and you're looking at the times just to confirm, yeah, Marcus Armstrong slightly quicker, 104.3 for his best time to a 104.7. Not a lot in it, but if you remember, that was his. There's Petru. Give him away, folks. Put on a good show for everyone, but not going to finish this race. But if you remember, Marcus said at the beginning of the weekend, max attack. That's his order for the day. Lawson is just happy to be out there and enjoying it. By the way, it's Lawson's birthday tomorrow. He turns 17. Wouldn't it be special if he could do something very special this weekend? He was here on his 15th birthday and won the Formula Ford Championship on his birthday. And so this has got a happy hunting ground for Liam Lawson. And he got a special cake with the circuit on it, made by Mum. Good on him. Petra will go to the medical centre. Go ahead, Murray.
Yeah, I'm here now with Petro. Petro, what happened in that incident?
Well, I just went off, like, what could happen. Sorry.
Okay, obviously very circumspect about that. He's just going into the medical centre for a quick check. But,
good on you, Murray. I like it. Murray on the spot. Like to see it. But yeah, that's pretty much normal procedure here. They head to the medical centre, just a quick check, make sure that there isn't any possibility of a concussion or anything like that. But I don't think he hit anything too hard. He just went off on a very fast corner.
And Jonathan, quite rightly, we've been focusing on the battle between Liam and Marcus. Absolutely frantic fighting in there. This is exactly what I guess neither of them wanted. They were looking for a run to the line and juggle around the positions. Yeah,
exactly. And of course, Armstrong definitely trying to make a go at Higgins. Let's take a look at what happened to Florescu, because in this replay we should be able to see him going off. Here they come. Yeah, he's already gone off, in fact. He does hit the tyre wall pretty hard, but I think he just missed the turn in, the second apex turn in. It's a double apex, that corner. And very easy. I went round the course with Chris Pither earlier in the weekend, and it's daunting, that last corner, because you go in and then you go even deeper in and then you turn in, and it doesn't feel right when you're doing it at speed, and so easy to get wrong. I've seen a lot of people go into that corner before now.
And of course, Chris Pither, the driver standards officer this year, competed in the very first season of TRS, way back there in 2005 when Brendan Hartley took that first win at Timaru.
Yes, and I'm sure he remembers it well. And I think he's enjoying this position, looking after the drivers. He's still very much an accomplished driver himself, a Super 2 champion at the moment, and looking forward to another big season. And
interesting this weekend to be reflecting back on 15 years of the Toyota Racing Series. A lot of nostalgia. I was talking to Gianfranco from Tatus, who you mentioned earlier. He was pointing out that Toyota is the longest relationship they've had with the championship since Tatus have been in business, and they're really a significant company. Also point out that Toyota Racing Series at 15 years has run longer than the classic days of the Tasman Series, of Formula 5000, of Pacific. The longevity of the championship is really quite amazing.
yeah, no question about it. I'd like to see the start again because there was a lot going on there, and there was no question that Florescu got some wheel spin. And I can see that from my commentary position. Here we go. You see the wheel spin there, and that loses him big time. Muth got away really well, and look at this. Run down. Look at Auer trying to go around the inside, then the outside, and then he made the long run and just gets into position. Liam gets past Armstrong just here. So that was the very, very important overtake, and then almost gets past Callum Williams. A really good start by the 16-year-old. Armstrong then thinks about coming through on the inside, but then gets balked, then goes to the outside and follows Liam Lawson, and that's where Callum Williams came into play. Look at Leach. So then Leach is holding up all of them. Callum Williams sprints off. They're side by side, the two of them. That must have been a very scary moment because there's nowhere to go there. So Armstrong dives to the outside of Higgins, Lawson to the inside, and that point Armstrong had the advantage, but by the end of the lap Lawson was back. So that was an amazing first lap in many ways. I've just done a little bit of calculating. I'll tell a lie, Brownie did it for me. But anyway, if Auer stays where he is, he'll pick up 16 points. Lawson, if he stays fifth, will pick up 12. Armstrong will pick up 10, and by my calculations that would make Lawson on 321 with Armstrong on 318 going into the Grand Prix. I am rubbing my hands with excitement. It's going to be awesome if that's the case. But it ain't over yet. We got 10 to go, and I would hate to be sitting in one of those hot cockpits right now, Murray.
Yeah, just look at that replay on the big screen down here opposite the pits. Big crowd in, incidentally. It's enjoying the sunshine, enjoying some great racing. It just pointed out, that replay pointed out the danger for these drivers of getting boxed in. And you've got nowhere to go, and your rival gets a free run through on the inside.
Yeah, and we just saw it there at Higgins, just how simple it is. We're in the air conditioning, me and Brownie. We're doing the points with... got our fingers out trying to do all the points here, but yeah, we got the bird seat here. We're looking out over the pit lane, and we can see the whole track here. It's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, this Manfeild circuit always amazes me. I think there's nowhere to overtake, and then suddenly there's lots of places to overtake. Sounds like we're off again. The cars are roaring away, and we are getting ready to go racing again here in race 2, and it's the American from Baltimore, the 18-year-old Cameron Dass, flying the flag for the USA. The USA desperate to have a Formula 1 driver. Would you believe it? A country with 325 million people hasn't had a Formula 1 driver since the likes of Scott Speed, full time anyway. Of course, there was a couple of drivers who've come onto the fringes of Formula 1, Alexander Rossi being one of them. But Cameron Dass has dedicated his teenage life to being in Europe and being ready to do all of the things that European drivers do, including coming here to the Toyota Racing Series to put himself in the shop window to get the right drive at the right time to go all the way. And if he wins this race, that will certainly do no harm to his quest. He's in the position to do it right now. But Esteban Muth would be my worry. He's looking very good. He got a really good start. And of course, we'll keep an eye on Leach and on Lawson and on Armstrong. 3 great races. New Zealand could be very proud that the tradition of good Kiwis continues. Chris Amon, looking down, I'm sure, will be pretty proud of all 3 of them. And they've all got very different stories. Leach in his 6th season. And as for Lawson, his very first. We're going to do one more lap under safety.
Jonathan, just see Raul Hyman there in 7th place. He's still keeping his hopes alive for Giles Motorsport.
Yeah, we talked to him last night. He was really out of sorts in terms of the balance of the car and just overall speed, and really looking for some sort of speed, and he couldn't find it. And he's been up and down. He was fast at Highlands, fast everywhere he's been, but there are certain times where they just, I don't know, have not second-guessed it right and just haven't found the right thing. The thing about balance and setting up a car is that you can go around in circles. Just when you start getting closer to a really nice sweet spot, suddenly it all goes, well, the temperature changes and the track changes and your car just changes underneath you. And then you've got to ask the question, how much do we go back? Do we go back to the original settings? Do we do a tweak here or there? And they have got themselves tied in knots a little bit, they've said, over the weekend. And none of the Giles drivers really at their optimal at the moment. But Raoul Hyman is a good racer, and he's in position here. Maybe he could challenge Armstrong. I spoke to him just before the race, and he said he was feeling good.
Well, we're only just approaching half distance, Jonathan. There's still plenty of racing to go here.
I know, and we're about to get underway as the safety car lights come off. And that means that Cameron Dass, who will be nervous, I'm afraid. If we look back to Hampton Downs, he was in this position before, and he and Lawson crashed because he didn't wait, and he's doing just that now. So he's learnt his lesson, and Chris Pither doing a very good job of reprimanding him and telling him how to do a restart. So this is a really important moment for Cameron Dass, because he didn't get it right at Hampton, and now he's got a chance to do it right. But Esteban Muth is right there, tucked underneath his tail. Here we go then. Dass will lead them across the line. Esteban Muth in second. Auer in third, then Leach. Everybody line astern. Everybody now jostling for position down towards Toyota. Round the outside goes Muth. On the inside goes Auer. Lawson's trying to get past Leach. Good opportunity for Lawson. Oh, and he lost a bit of ground there, and he's got to be careful as they dive into splash. He doesn't lose a position to Armstrong, who gets by. Armstrong's by, and here comes Lawson back at him. The whole championship on the line here. But Armstrong's through on Lawson. So out of all that jiggery-pokery through splash, it's Armstrong who gets the advantage. Everybody stays in position, but Armstrong now putting the pressure on the outside at Higgins, on Leach, trying to get the drive round the outside. Lawson says, okay, I'll try the inside. Lawson needs to jump back at him soon, because Armstrong's now side by side with Leach as they come to the last corner, but he's going to be hung out to dry on the outside if he's not careful. Leach knows this track better than anybody, and he is hanging Armstrong outside, and Lawson says, thank you very much. Wide he goes. Lawson goes through. What a race. And Leach is playing his part, but not the part he wanted to. And Lawson takes advantage. Armstrong dives to the inside. The man from Invercargill is a real thorn in both their sides at the moment, and Lawson now wants to go at him at splash. He looks to the inside, can't get through. What a race. They're risking everything. Armstrong now looks to the inside at 4 at the hairpin. Leach is holding them up, but that's his race. He wants to finish just as hard as they do. He's in 4th place. Can Lawson get a run on him? And a massive crash at the back. Somebody spinning around. It's Petacek. Petacek gets it going again at the hairpin. He's okay. And the race continues. Dass leading from Muth, but we're concentrating, of course, on this Kiwi Fest here. Who says they can't fly? Look at them go. Here comes Lawson on Leach. He's got him now, surely. But he's got to get through on him. Now he jinks. Oh, it's going to be high. And Lawson has to tuck back in, or he's going to run out of room. Oh, Armstrong follows him through. And this is desperate measures for desperate times. Lawson determined to get through on Leach, but Leach says no way. Armstrong says, okay, I'll take both of you. What a race. And Leach holds on, but for now, here comes up to splash, but who's going to make one? Lawson! Wheel to wheel with Leach. Has he got him now? As he plays into this, Armstrong's going to get both of them. Round the outside goes Lawson. Nail-biting stuff. And again, bound the back straight. Raoul Hyman has now joined the battle. Wouldn't it be great if he just went through on all of them? Armstrong's going to go high and wide at Higgins. There's room there, and the camber is set that you can get a good slingshot. And he's done just that. And he now attacks Leach again. He's got the speed on Leach in a straight line. There's no question about it. But every time he goes to the outside, and Muth is through on... Although Auer is holding station with Muth, but it's close between these two as they cross the line again. Here comes Auer. Forget about that, though. Auer going for the inside move, and he's going to get him. So Auer into second place, behind Das now. Meanwhile, Leach still holding off Lawson and Armstrong. And Cameron Das is away to the races. He's just on the fastest lap at 104.2. And now Lucas Auer goes in pursuit. Callan Williams joins the battle. It's a five-way battle now for fourth place. Here they are into turn 4. And Das is enjoying every moment of this. He got a brilliant restart. That makes up for Hampton Downs. And is in a good position now with 4 to go. Armstrong took a look up the inside there. This isn't over by any means. Leach, though, has recovered, and Lawson's going to have to build again because Leach has pulled away. Here come the leaders. Cameron Das out of the last corner. Das with a 1.7 second lead, 1.8 now. 3 to go. Auer not able to get away from Muth. And now Lawson is under pressure now from Armstrong. Immense pressure, I may add. The championship on the line again as Lawson, through splash, is so much quicker than Leach, who looks to be struggling in a straight line. And now if Lawson can get tucked beneath him again, he might just make a move at him at Higgins. Here we go again. Armstrong is there, though, waiting for both of them to make a mistake. 3 Kiwis at it here at Manfeild. Doesn't get any better. Out of Higgins. Das now with a 1.8 second lead at the front. Time running out, though. Armstrong looking good. In terms of overall time, they're all about equal. 104.3, 104.4. Here they come again. This is the closest Lawson's been to Leach. He looks to the outside at Toyota. Now we'll do the switchback, I'm sure. He does. Can't do it again. He gets on the pace again. Into splash. If he's going to do it, he needs to do it up the inside of 4, in my opinion. But he's just not close enough on the exit here to make a dive, and Leach will come across his bows if he's not careful. He thought about it then, and Armstrong's just being patient. He knows that Lawson wants to make a good gap between them, and it really is the case of if either one of them could create a gap in points, they'll have the advantage going into the Grand Prix. And remember, Armstrong starts 3rd for the Grand Prix. Again, time running out, 2 laps to go. Lawson still not close enough to Brendan Leach. Cameron Das with a 1.9 second lead. Comes towards the checkered flag. 1 lap to go, and he has still got a 1.7 second lead. Great stuff by the man from Baltimore. The US flag emblazoned on the side of the car, the former Carlin man heading back to Europe. And wouldn't it be a great scalp to win here in the Toyota Racing Series and beat the likes of factory driver Lucas Auer and Strecker driver Esteban Muth, already a winner, both of the men behind him. Meanwhile, Leach holding on to 4th, and well he might. He's really done a great job here. But Lawson can do nothing about it at the moment. He's tried everything in the book, and Armstrong has patiently waited for his chance too. And I think Armstrong said, okay, I've tried my aggression. We've had a big crash at the 4th turn. Car going off into the exit, and that's Dev Gore and Jackson Walls coming together. The Australian and the American. Meanwhile, the other American is headed towards the checkered flag as Cameron Das of the USA takes his first win of the year ahead of Lucas Auer and Esteban Muth. Brendan Leach crosses the line in 4th, and Liam Lawson holds off Armstrong for 5th place, and by my reckoning will now lead the championship going in to the 64th New Zealand Grand Prix. 3 points in it by our calculations. Doesn't get any closer than that, folks. And I'll tell you what, get your lunch now, because if you don't get your seat for the final big Grand Prix, well, you need your head looking at. We've got a real doozy.
Well, Jonathan, that was a spellbinding
Wasn't
race.
it?
Just absolutely stunning racing between these people with so much at stake, going wheel to wheel and getting tangled up with other people. What a thrilling build-up to the 64th New Zealand Grand Prix.
And well, all around were losing theirs. Kenny Smith was keeping his head, 12th position. And yeah, great stuff from Kenny. And we'll stay with you, Murray, because I want to see if you can get a word with our winner, because Cameron will be beaming from ear to ear, the 18-year-old. Every time I've seen him, he has been, give me that nod. I'm fast, the car's fast, I can do this. And finally, he's going to get a chance to celebrate in his son. I know his dad's watching back in the USA, and we've had a lot of people on the live feed from all over the USA, so we welcome you, F4 fans, F3 fans from the USA. Cameron Dass, your former champion, the F4 champion of 2016, has done it on the international stage with a brilliant win over Lucas Auer. Esteban Muth taking third, Brendan Leach fourth, Liam Lawson in fifth place, Marcus Armstrong in sixth place, both through M2 competition, and that gives them more points for their tally. Brilliant stuff by them. And it's also 201 podiums now for M2 competition. What a history, what a story, and what a day to do it. Brilliant racing. And Cameron Dass is out the car and getting the congratulations of his engineers and team principals at M2. Well, Murray, as soon as you can get that helmet off, we'll go to you, because I know that we want to get a word with the man of the moment, and he's just getting his helmet off.
Yeah, very happy there. It looks like the family are here, the team are delighted. What a result.
Yeah, and as he gets his helmet off, let me just remind you, 321 to Lawson, we have it, 318 to Armstrong, and 270 to Lucas Auer just behind you. And great elation for young Cameron Dass. It's a big accolade to win on the international field, and he's done it here at Manfeild. Murray, over to you.
Well, Cameron, that's a big American smile. Congratulations, great race.
Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty much straightforward after the start. Just had to have a good one off the line and then maintain as quick of a pace as I could the rest of the race.
Okay, and putting together everything you've learned over the season, you've had your highs and lows?
Yeah, certainly. We have a lot of lows, but I think this race proves that I learned from those mistakes, and we're going to be a lot stronger this year.
And you're about to start your first Grand Prix.
Yeah, no, second Grand Prix actually. But I think we're in a much better position than last year, so let's shoot for the win in that one as well.
Yes, a confident young man, so different than the man that was here as a rookie last year. There's Lucas Auer.
And we've got Lucas with us now, Jonathan. Lucas, once again on the podium. You're going strong here at the end of the season.
Yeah, good start. I started P6 because of the reverse grid and had a good start. Had a couple of good fights, and at the end the P2 without damage for the Grand Prix is I think good enough.
So what does this mean for the Grand Prix later on today?
Nothing, because every race is a new race. First you need to get temperature in the tires, then the perfect start, and then you have to survive for I don't know how many minutes. So it will be a new story after the Grand Prix.
The Michelin tires holding up well in these conditions?
Yeah, those tires are in general, the Michelin is doing a good job. They're pretty consistent, they have a drop, yeah, and you still need to get it right with setup, otherwise you start to struggle.
Tire pressure is quite critical.
Yeah, I think everybody, when we say tire pressure, all the engineers are falling already on the ground.
Well done.
Thank you.
Great conversation. I love Lucas. He doesn't say much, but what he does say is always fascinating. And well done to our top three, just to confirm that. Go ahead, Murray.
And with us here now is Esteban Muth. Esteban, there was obviously a lot of focus on what was happening with Liam and Marcus, but still a good race at the front.
Yeah, it was not bad. The speed was there. I did a mistake by myself, which should not have happened, because I have to stay in front of Brandon. That's my main objective. Brandon and Raul. It worked. I stayed in front. This is good for the championship. Just did a stupid mistake, and with Lucas, it's never easy to stay in front if he's behind. So it's my fault. Could have done better, but I'm still happy with the result.
Well, you get one more chance this afternoon in the New Zealand Grand Prix.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. because we know the speed is there. We have the same speed as the leaders, just Liam and Marcus that are on another planet for the moment. Lucas as well did an amazing job, so we will try to stay with them, and why not another podium would be great.
So it's been a super summer for you.
It's been great, better than I expected. I thought I would be more to the 5, 6, 7th. We know we can be at 3rd, 2nd, 4th. This is my position for the moment. And yeah, I'm happy with this. It's good for Europe. Next year I hope I come back next year, because it's really good for experience during the winter. It's nice.
Again, great words from Esteban Muth, and it would be pretty special if he came back with his brother O'Neill. I don't think we've had too many brothers racing against each other here in New Zealand. So then, that concludes our Race 2 coverage. Cameron Dass with the win, Lucas Auer in 2nd place, and Esteban Muth rounding out the top 3. And more importantly, Liam Lawson now taking a lead into the final race of 2019, the Grand Prix, coming up.